Have you ever wondered why we put up walls? It's a superhuman thing we do, right? This need to protect ourselves. But, as we're about to see, that very instinct can sometimes trap us in a really painful cycle.
I think we've all been there, asking ourselves this exact question. Why do I push people away when deep down that's the last thing I want to do? Well, here's the thing. It's not some personal flaw, not at all. It's a protective mechanism. And today, we're going to break down exactly how it works.
So, where does this whole thing even begin? Well, it all starts with what our source material calls the cycle of hardship. You can think of this as the origin story for why we build those walls in the first place.
And the starting point? It's actually incredibly simple, and something we've all experienced. It just starts when someone hurts us, when we're treated badly. It's a reaction to a bad experience, a little seed that gets planted from the outside.
Okay, and this is absolutely key. That bad feeling, it doesn't just, vanish. Instead, it can form what's called a negative compartment. Just picture it. That painful feeling gets kind of walled off and stuck deep inside your mind.
And here's where the cycle really kicks in. When something happens, a word, a look, a situation that triggers that old compartment, that bad feeling just comes rushing to the surface. And the crazy part is, without even meaning to, we might lash out, treat someone else badly, and pass that hardship right along. And just like that, the cycle continues.
So you've got this painful little compartment inside you. What's your first instinct? Probably to contain it, right? To lock it up? And that leads us right into the next phase, building that inner wall.
The logic here is pretty straightforward when you think about it. First, you know there's a painful feeling in there. Second, it's so uncomfortable that you really don't want to look at it. So what do? Third, you build a mental wall to block it off. Seems like a pretty good solution at the time.
But, and this is the huge twist, that very wall we build to protect ourselves, it doesn't actually solve the problem. In fact, it does the opposite. It creates a self-sustaining, endless loop of pain.
Now this is where it gets really fascinating. That wall is built from fear, right? The fear of feeling that old pain again. But here's the kicker. That fear-based energy actually feeds the negative compartment, making it even stronger. That is the endless loop. And to keep this whole system running without falling apart, our minds often slip into a state of denial, just pretending that none of this is even happening. Okay, so we've got this charged up, walled-off compartment sitting inside of us. What happens when we go out and interact with other people? Well, this brings us to the whole idea of being triggered. This slide just nails a really subtle but incredibly powerful idea. We always say, that person is triggering me. But what if the deeper truth is something else? What if it's not the person at all, but the vibration of their own unresolved compartment that's resonating with yours? It's like two tuning forks that are tuned to the exact same painful frequency. And this is where our own little internal struggle connects to something so much bigger. When we keep letting these unresolved compartments get triggered, we just repeat the same patterns, the same behaviors over and over. On a personal level, this is literally how history repeats itself. The pattern will just keep going until the root problem, that problematic history inside us, is finally dealt with.
I know, this might all sound a bit heavy, but stick with me because the whole reason we're digging into this is to figure out how to break free from it. And the good news is, there is a way. So let's talk about the solution.
The source introduces a specific practice for this, and it's called Kelee Meditation. The entire goal of this practice isn't just to manage the compartments or build stronger walls. Nope, the goal is to actually dissolve them for good. So how on earth does that work? Well, the core skill is what's described as the beautiful art of detachment. Now, when you hear that, don't think it means becoming cold or emotionless. That's not it at all. It's really about learning how to not be controlled by all these internal storms. And this skill gives you this incredible 2-for-1 freedom. First, you learn to detach from the vibrations of other people's stuff, so they just don't have the power to trigger you anymore. But even more importantly, it gives you the tool you need to turn inward and finally dissolve your own compartments right at the source.
So what's life actually like on the other side? I mean, what does it feel like to live without those inner walls constantly going up? What does that kind of freedom really look like day to day?
People who practice this often say it boils down to something as simple but as profound as this. Just imagine that for a second. The little things, the big things, the stuff that has bothered you for years, just not having a hold on you anymore. And this right here is the real prize.
This isn't about learning to cope better or manage your triggers. The idea is that when a compartment is truly gone, it's gone. The trigger point itself doesn't exist anymore. It can't be set off by anyone or anything. Now that is when the cycle is well and truly broken.
And so we'll just leave you with this one last thought. It's a really powerful question. I mean, we're kind of taught that as we get older, life just gets heavier, right? More baggage, more complicated. But what if? What if you could actually reverse that trend? What if your life could become lighter and simpler and easier over time?